Okay, today we're going to go over jazz chord symbols, and hopefully I'll clear up a little bit of confusion, if you do have confusion about this, of how to read and how to figure out what a chord symbol actually says. So these are jazz chord symbols. Okay, the first thing that you need to know is simple chords, such as major, that's C major. You're going to see these in lead sheets all over the place. C minor. You need an MI. Sometimes it's MIN. Okay, you know that's a C minor triad. These are the four basic triads. Major, minor, augmented is a plus sign, and diminished is a little tiny circle. Okay, so that tells you each one, jazz chord symbol notation, each one of the four triads. Okay, now let's add something to that. The first thing you're going to see is sevenths added to that. We just have a 7 that just sits above the capital C. So what we do when we read these is we read left to right. This tells us that this is a C major triad with a 7th added. Now you have to know that this is a minor 7th, and let me play the difference. I'll show you the two that always are confusing to students, it seems. When you see MA or MAJ 7, that's a major 7th. And it has to do with the interval from the root, which is C, to the 7th. Here's a minor 7th. That is the C7, and the major 7th is the major 7th. So here we have this, we know that it's a C major chord. Here's the C7. Okay, it's actually functioning in the key of F. We call that a dominant 7th chord. And C major 7th is added to the C major triad and actually functioning as a tonic or a 1 chord. Okay, so we can add 7ths to augmented chords same way. This is a minor 7th. Okay, and diminished 7. Now this is a little tricky, and let me explain. This is a fully diminished 7. So we have a diminished chord. Okay, that first part tells us it's a diminished chord, and then we add a diminished 7th to it. Now this is always confusing to students. Just remember that a C diminished 7th is a fully diminished 4-note chord. And if you want a half diminished, and we see this a lot in jazz, it's C minor 7 flat 5. Okay, the two chord symbols look a lot different, but there's really only one note difference in there, and that's the 7th. Whoops, sorry. C minor 7 flat 5. Here's the difference. Here's a C fully diminished 7. Here's a C minor 7 flat 5. Okay, you hear the difference, and all it is the 7th is different. Okay, now if you want to figure out the C minor 7 flat 5, you could just go right across. We know it's a C minor chord with a 7th added. The alteration is the flat 5. Okay, so always read left to right and keep it simple that way. Okay, let's keep going here. Now, when we're talking about jazz harmony, generally we're talking that harmony in thirds, which is tertian harmony, T-E-R-T-I-A-N. So we can add 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths to these chords, upper extensions, and we can also alter them too. So let's take a C9. Whoops. Okay, this tells us that we have a C major chord. The 9th being there infers that it actually has a minor 7th. It's a dominant chord, and we add a 9 to it. Okay, so we don't have to put 7, 9 there. We just put 9, and it's assumed that you know that the 7th is added. Okay, notice now it's a 5-note chord. Now I'm voicing these in root position. They don't sound that great. If I did them at the piano, it would be a lot different. But I want you to just get the idea. C minor 9, reading left to right, minor chord with a minor 7th, and we're adding a 9. So remember, the 9th infers that you have a 7th there as well. Okay, we can add, let me show you, with the 11th. Now the 11th, you can have a C11 chord, but what happens is the E, or the third of that chord, is going to clash with the 11th, and I'll show you. You can hear this. These two notes are a minor ninth away, the third and the 11th. So what we do in that case is we usually say something like C9, and then we alter that 11th with a sharp 11. Okay, so alterations are in parentheses. So C major chord with a minor 7th and a 9th added, and then the 11th is sharped. Okay, like I said, I'm voicing these in root position straight up so you can get the idea and you can hear them. Okay, C minor 11th, since it doesn't have a major third there, or an E, is fine. We can just put C minor 11. Okay? See, these two notes don't clash because they're not a minor ninth away. Okay? Just sounds like a more complicated chord. Okay, lastly, let's take let's see. Let me do that again. Okay, I'm going to take it. We can go up to the 13th. Let's say we have a C13, sharp 11, flat 9. Okay, now it looks like a pretty complicated chord, and I guess it is in a way. But if you think about it simple to complex, it's a lot more easy. C major triad. Because the 13th is there, that's implying we have a 9th and a 7th. Okay. Now, we have a 9th, 7th, and 11th, sorry. But over here, this information tells us that those are altered. So we have a sharp 11 and a flat 9. Okay, that's all the notes that are straight up. So I have a sharp 11, I have a flat 9, and I added the 13th on the very top. Okay, so obviously that is a fairly complicated harmony, but if you read left to right, you can figure it out much quicker. Okay, lastly, before I leave you here, some of the things you'll come across in older fake books especially are some symbols that are really incorrect now, but let's say they wanted you to play a C major 7th. You may see a triangle. That's what that means. C major 7, piano players would add ninths. You know, it basically just gives you an idea of a general framework. Nowadays, the stuff I just went over is much more standard. So, but just in case you're reading an older tune, you might find this as well. F-7. The dash is minor. F minor 7. Let me think of some other ones here. Oh, you might run across this. G, D, I, M. Rather than a circle, they just spelled out diminished, or short for diminished. So this equals this. Okay, and you might see something like that. So that equals that. Okay, so I can't think of any off the top of my head. Those are the most basic ones: the dash and the triangle. So you get the idea there. But last but not least, well, I guess that's all. That's all for this video. And if you have any questions, let me know. But that covers the basic concept of reading a chord symbol from left to right, going from simple to complex. I hope that helped you out, and we'll talk to you soon.